I will answer most of your questions according to my experience with my own family. Perhaps I experienced with other people as well in the Vietnamese culture. So when I left Vietnam, I was 14 years old. By the age of 12 to 14, I did not agree a lot of Vietnamese culture. Why is because the great-grandparents had grown up with their own great-grandparents. The way they desire and the way they empower to teach their children that the children have no right to talk to their parents or have no right to have criticized what the parents do wrong. From that third generation, when it comes to my time, I realized that my mother in that second generation, after her mother and her sister and her father, a lot of abusive and the freedom rights of a human being, what you have to say and what you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm trying to say here is, for example, if the husband have an affair, the woman don't say anything, they live in peace to accept it, what the man must show, because he's a provider. Or if the mother is coming home and have upsetting with the father, and the children not supposed to say anything, and the children have to live, suffer from because the parents are unhappy. So that environment, I grew up with a child, so it's 90% of other Vietnamese people too. And from being that young and being that really hated and wish I can change my life to be different. How do I change my life different? At the age of 14, live under my parents' roof and under their foot on the table and under all the control of the parents' rights. So I was a lucky child, and perhaps I get to live Vietnam in a condition of Vietnam War and in the condition of my parents need to send me out of the country as to taking care of their own two little children, which is my brother and my sister. And so when I left Vietnam, first I arrived to Singapore. I was grown up at the age 14 and a lot of thinking what the next step I have to do. That age so young, I do a lot of prayer. God help me, or Buddha or universe, because I absolutely had no training, no experience, and no parents teach me to grow up as a grown-up young woman with untrained. So how I do that is I don't want to be exactly my mother or my father or any one of the Vietnamese people in environment, because I feel that the culture teaching children like that is very suffering. Children don't have independence themselves, always dependent on the parents and under their control, even when they're grown up to be a adult or a young mother. So I created my life to see how I can be respect as well as how I don't listen to my parents and tell me what they expect me to do. That was the most difficult thing in my life. It became a reflect to my parents when they came to America in 1990 something. I forgot what year they came. And it made my life very suffering. To one, respect my parents, try to make them happy. Two, I am not very happy because I'm trying to make them happy. For instance, they always expected me to give and do everything for them as they expect me to, as they take. So then after I was suffering because it would not work in American culture with Asian culture. So it became the biggest problem because I against what they say and don't accept what they offer, what they want me to do. So I went to see a lot of therapists to help me mentality not to feel guilty. That took me 10 years to recover. However, because of my personality when I was a young child, at the age of 12, 14, parents and being learning something outside of this country, and the dream came true. At the age of 14, I was out of the country. I was overseas. I learned a lot on my own. I have friends who my age live in America for 25 years. Half of our time are trained in America already.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, let's say I was born, I left when I'm 14, I'm 51. So most of my time was not near Vietnamese culture. So I'm more of Western culture, but I'm also Vietnamese culture. So the longer how you go to school and you go to college, you meet your partner go to college, you all train the same thing in American way, but yes, you are Vietnamese. Okay? You don't know what the culture in Vietnam is, but you are raised by your parents. You see how your parents raised you.
Okay. Oh, okay. So, are you based on my understanding? Are you saying that there is no right way or wrong way to be Vietnamese, even if you like never been to Vietnam before as an American-born Vietnamese, because there's no universal sense of being Vietnamese, because your family dynamics, your race, class, gender, etc., all complicate your experience of being Vietnamese, and the cultural values or the changes in the cultural values that entitle that.
Yes. Right. So, for example, for you perhaps, you don't have to be born in Vietnam, Leslie.
Mm-hmm. How does that pertain to the idea that Vietnamese culture is made up? And what are the ways that parents can present Vietnamese culture based on, like, as I just said, factors of being a man, woman, poor, rich, educated, not educated, yeah.
Okay. Now, for example, your mother may made it up.
Mm-hmm.
Say, you have to take care of me when I'm old.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know why? You know that from her mom. You know that from her parents.
Right.
And her parents learned that from her parents. Definitely you don't learn that from your mom because you don't get what she said.
Right. Because that is based on how I interpret reality too, and how that doesn't fit into my own personal value system. And also, like at the same time of being a Vietnamese person as well and American as well. So, like, I guess from what you're saying, I believe that Vietnamese identity is very complex. There is a lot of gray area. There's no